لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا.
All praise be to Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, and peace and blessings be upon our Prophet and all the Prophet of Allah since the time of Adam until the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is my pleasure to welcome you again to your program with the Prophet. I hope that these episodes will be inspiring to you and to me. Therefore, we may reflect more on the life of the greatest man ever walked on earth. Sometimes we spend time talking about relatives and ancestors and other people, and I think it's an obligation upon us, especially at this time, to sit some time to read about the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to inform our children about his life from authentic sources, and talk about him in our gatherings. Therefore, our life will be lightened by his own character, alayhi salatu wassalam. In this episode of your program with the Prophet, we'll continue the talk about leadership qualities of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in this episode we'll be talking about his inspiration for his followers, to share with him the same vision that he had during his mission. So he is inspiring his followers with his vision, and this is one of the most important features of a leader. As a very interesting quote I went through when reading Thomas Carlyle's writings about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he was describing the situation of the Arabs and how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam worked to elevate that community, and it's a selection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where he said, to the Arab nation it was as a birth from darkness into light. Arabia first became alive by means of it. Yes, indeed. It is life. أو من كان ميتا فأحييناه وجعلنا له نورا يمشي به في الناس كما مثله في الظلمات ليس بخارج منها. Indeed, as Allah mentioned, the comparison of somebody who is enlightened by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like somebody who has been living in darkness all his life. The Arabs were living in darkness. The whole world was living in darkness. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought this light of the Quran at the hands of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Rasulun min anfusikum azizun alayhi ma'anittu. A prophet, a messenger from among you. He's very much concerned about your arrogance, alayhi salatu wassalam. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam made it clear to the whole world. To himself it was clear. To his companions he had to make it clear. In the most difficult times when he's in Mecca, he would see his companions being persecuted, being humiliated. He himself was mocked, accused of all false accusations. But he continued firm in his message and made his mission very clear to everybody, a vision that is clear until today, to be until the day of judgment. When he stood among the Qurayshis and told them, say, I'm not only sent to you. This is a small town, and this town has has the sanctuary, the sacred house of Allah. But I'm not only sent to this place, I'm sent to the whole world. And this religion will spread to the four corners of earth. Where he said, لَيَبْلُغَنَّ هَذَا الْأَمْرُ مَا بَلَغَ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَلَا يَبْقَى بَيْتُ وَبَرٍ وَلَا مَدَرٍ إِلَّا دَخَلَهُ هَذَا الدِّينَ. This matter will spread to all places where there is day and night. And every house, whether it is Here he talk about house madar or بيت ولا يبقى بيت وبر ولا مدر, mean a house made out of wool, mean Bedouin, mean remote areas, uncivilized areas, but this deen would reach. And he made that message at a time where the people of Mecca were waging enmity against him. But the message that was not to the people of Mecca to know his vision, but to you and me and every human being in this world over time, that this deen will spread, whether they like it or not. The Prophet ﷺ, as Allah mentioned in the Quran, does not speak out of himself. وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَى. It's a matter of revelation. So whatever he says is a form of revelation. And his words, when we receive authentic hadith about the Prophet ﷺ, we know it is the truth and it will take place. This even again will go to a quote from Thomas Carlyle when he was speaking about the Prophet ﷺ, when he said, "It is a great shame for anyone to listen to the accusations that Islam is a lie and that Muhammad ﷺ," I'm saying Muhammad ﷺ because probably he didn't believe in Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Sometimes they are closet Muslims and we don't know, was a fabricator or a deceiver. Yes, alayhi salatu wassalam, in the battle of the trench, when 10,000 people surrounded Medina, the Arabs never gathered in their history against anybody, even their enemies. They have been governed by many over their time, and many they were spreading on the desert, and they were even difficult to govern, but they never united in history as they have united against Prophet Muhammad ﷺ at the battle of the trench. They wanted to wipe out Islam, thought this is the moment we'll get rid of Muhammad. The Prophet ﷺ, with the genius plan suggested by Salman al-Farisi, may Allah be pleased with him, to dig a trench on the soft areas where the army could get into Medina. The Prophet ﷺ went to the people when they were digging in the trench, his companions, and they were singing at that time, لولا الله ما اهتدينا ولا صمنا ولا صلينا. If it was not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wouldn't have been guided and wouldn't have prayed. Subhanallah. At these difficult moments, they had their firm belief in Allah. They see their leader having firm belief in Allah. He never whined. He never got weakened by under any condition, regardless of the difficult times that they were running through, the enemies coming from outside and the hypocrites from inside. And the Jews also have declared treason and violated the treaty that they had with Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. But his firm belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will support him and grant him victory never disappeared out of his belief or his vision. He would go to his companion, say, and he'll take breaks a stone, big stone that they couldn't do, and said, light will come out of his head. The palaces of Kisra will be opened. Again, the palaces of Caesar will be opened. And the hypocrites say, we cannot even go find ways to go to the bathroom, wherever. And this man is promising these empires for his followers. That took place. He was sending a message to them that this is the road to achieve the mission. This is the road to achieve the mission that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was appointed to achieve. His vision was clear to them. His mission was very clear to them. And he would emphasize that in the most difficult times. In these times where they're surrounded by enemies from everywhere, said, لَتَفْتَحُنَّ الْقُسْطَنْطِينِيَّةَ وَرُومِيَّةَ. You will liberate Constantinople and Rome. How the companions responded. It tells you how those people were receiving this vision of the Prophet ﷺ, a visionary leader who really astonished the whole world. And the people who wrote about history of leadership were astonished by how Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was able to achieve that. What type of qualities this man had, alayhi salatu wassalam. His companions didn't say, oh, we are surrounded in Medina, we have many enemies, the hypocrites, the Jews around us, the Qurayshis, Ghatafan, Tamim, all those people are coming to kill us. What can we do now? You're promising Constantinople? Oh, come on. They said, O Prophet of Allah, which one will be liberated first? Subhanallah. Those are the people who were really brought up by Prophet Muhammad ﷺ with very strong faith in their hearts that is reflected on their own practice. They never whined. They had full belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is why Allah supported them. Yes, they liberated Constantinople, which is Istanbul nowadays, to the extent that his first host, Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, may Allah be pleased with him, wanted to be in that mission to go after the death of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He joined the armies of Islam. He didn't want to stay in a place where when he would see the Prophet every day. Now he couldn't really stand it. I'll go to achieve the mission of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And now his grave is very close to the walls of Constantinople, of Istanbul. And the time for Rome will come indeed, because he does not speak out of himself. Let's have great faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, great faith in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, great faith on the words of Allah that we have in our hands, great faith in ourselves. If we really become truly Muslims, believers, true mu'mins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not let us down. Allah said in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah does not change the situation of a people until they change within themselves. Let's change within themselves first. Then we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to lift all these calamities that we're living through. It is because of us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا.